Okay, it's time for the annual election of the chair and vice chair and designation of secretary. Is there anyone interested in the position of chair? Lack of eye contact, right?
It's when everyone looks at the floor.
It is, it is. In light of some of the things that we're working on, like with the city, as far as the economic development, sales tax, and some of these other things, I'm happy to stay in the role for another year. Institutional knowledge, I think of like some of the meetings and process that's taken us to this point, I think can be helpful. But honestly, I also think that it's really helpful for a board or a commission or organization to have people taking turns. There's a lot of things that you learn through communications that happen between meetings as far as professional development, in business and things like that too. So I think that's an important part of it. So I am happy to switch roles. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't support and help with all the other things if somebody wants to take a turn.
You've done great.
I agree.
So should we call a vote for each position, or should we talk about all the positions and then vote them?
Normally we do each.
Okay, all right. Well, all right, then I'll self-nominate or all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Vice chair. Have anyone interested in the position of vice chair?
I would happy to do it for another year. We've had a good run. So, but if someone wants to help out, I mean, I like organizing, and I think it's beneficial that I don't have a business interest, but also I could see if someone business owner wants to get more involved, but happy to do it for another year. So
Yeah. I think we're a good team.
yay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor of
Eric.
It's
Okay.
no coffee.
Just be nice.
Eric, we're good. Remaining as vice chair. Any opposed? Designation of secretary. I'd like to. Do we nominate or do we just ask? Does everybody want Fran to continue in this, or there's no other option, right?
Well, if you don't, then one of you has to do the job.
Okay.
Yeah, but I nominate Fran.
I second.
Second.
That. All in favor of Fran remaining as the
Thank you, Fran.
secretary? Thank you. Okay, has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve?
As much.
That is
Second.
all in favor of approving? Any opposed? Visitor comments again?
Sorry.
Old business, January 22nd, after hours gathering.
So I would like to make a motion to move this to the 29th and include the Kirkwood Chamber, or so the Webster Chamber is having an event, after hours event at Session Taco on the 29th. So I would like to join forces with them. So I'd like to make a motion to move our coffee to the 29th.
Happy hour.
Happy hour, sorry.
We can have coffee too.
After coffee.
Spend the day together.
So is, Jerry, is that a joint event with the Chamber
It
Conference?
is,
Oh,
yeah,
the Kirkwood
yeah.
Chamber?
Our chamber, we're collaborating with Kirkwood
Yeah,
at Session Cop.
a lot of people I've talked to are really excited about the
Yeah.
idea of that.
Yeah, we have, like I said, we have about 40 already registered. So it's gonna be,
Excellent. So do we need to then include that with a newsletter and try to get
Yes.
people registered?
and I wanted to wait until this got formally approved, and then we'll promote the collaboration. We'll send out, I'll create the invitation like
Yes,
I've done in the
please.
past, get that to you probably no later than tomorrow.
Is there any kind of capacity issue with that venue?
I'm expecting about close to 100 people. So it's big, it's big. I hear Kirkwood's got a big population.
Excellent.
So the joint event is a joint event.
It's a joint event.
No, we had a joint event, but now we're joining the joint event,
Yes, we're
right?
collaborating.
Isn't that basically?
It's a double joint. It's a triple joint.
Okay.
And will you copy me when you email friends
Absolutely.
for the,
And then our commitment can still be the same, like we've chipped in 500 before.
Yeah.
That's in our budget,
Right.
so
So we'll each put in 500 and cover it.
we could
Kirkwood
reimburse.
will also, because obviously. it's-
Okay,
Absolutely.
we could reimburse the chamber like last time, that's how we did it.
I think it's, but 90 days, same as.
Yes,
absolutely, 6 cents. Just free.
okay, great.
So just
Go ahead.
for clarification, so we're not having this on the 22nd. We're going to
Yeah,
combine with the 29th event.
do we need to vote on that or?
I think so.
No.
You guys are the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah.
So the 29th, and then is there a time that you have already?
5 PM,
Okay.
5 to 7.
Okay, 5 to 7 on the 29th.
That's reserved, yeah.
Okay, April 16th business coffee update. Do you guys have one?
So we have the space reserved. I have a very large space, both the Cheyenne and Scout rooms. So
Okay, great.
we can take the divider down. I mean, kind of in light of everything, probably could talk about
I think we had the strategic plan.
strategic plan, which might also lead into some, I don't know, the tax issues as well, the budget.
Maybe when we get like a little further
Further,
down into
okay.
some of these things, we'll figure out, because I'm not sure what the terminology of indefinitely postponing it means, and so we can circle back around with members of the council and city and ask some of those questions. No matter what, I think educating the business, our business community on the strategic plan. Is that the right word, or is it comprehensive? Sorry, comprehensive.
Yeah. We also have a strategic.
That's-
plan. I wasn't sure what it was. But you're,
Love
yes, the
it.
Yes,
comprehensive.
the comprehensive plan. Is that still a reasonable topic for in April? I think at one point there was question whether there would be enough understanding of it to present.
There's enough content. I'm not sure what the real focus and how we narrow it in. The comprehensive plan spans a lot, so I'd like to learn more from you so that the presentation is what this group is looking for.
Okay. Anything else on the coffee?
Which the supplier copy as well.
Yeah, usually we like to make.
Yeah. But I think that would be a good topic.
Explore St. Louis Neighborhood Partner Program and the BDC relaunch cover letter. I'm not sure I know what that is.
So last meeting, we wanted to circle back on after the holidays, kind of seeing how people who are in, well, we want to circle back after the holidays and then gather forces with the BDC, kind of decide on what Explore as St. Louis is for Webster, and then have a launch letter that comes from the BDC. We talked about, kind of condensing it, say that this is why you want to be a part. These are the benefits. Maybe these are the businesses that are already in it. Just a small intro, couple paragraphs
Okay,
that we can include in the packet that kind of brings it home. It doesn't.
Right.
And not that it isn't already very localized, but just probably an intro letter. So yeah, we talked about bouncing that around just between EDC members.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to start the draft,
Yeah.
and then we can get it going.
Yeah.
Maybe approve it next meeting.
So is the intent then to like encourage participation in the neighborhood program that they have?
Yeah. So this would be just, say, hey, we're behind this. You know, they've been a partner. These are the reasons why.
Do we have any kind of like information to share with them? Explore St. Louis was the ones that came through on the bus tour, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so do we have any like information? Were they going to try and promote us during the holiday season? Did they do that? Or like what was the takeaway on it?
So we probably need feedback on that. That was a bus full of people, to my knowledge, was just hands-on people who are interacting with everyone who comes
Yeah.
to St. Louis. So we probably need to, get some feedback from that. I can reach
Sure.
out to Barry and Kelly,
Okay.
boss, and then we can get a letter going.
Nice. I love what they're doing for our region.
Yeah.
And that was a neat opportunity to have them come through and see what we're doing firsthand.
For
Okay.
sure.
All right, and then like we'll have a draft to like share around for the next meeting.
Yes, that'd be the
Okay.
goal. So
Okay. The business survey results. I think we didn't really get any more than we had the last time.
it's probably more of what's next and when, like,
What's next? Yeah,
Yeah, we-
because I think that all of the efforts that were put into fourth quarter had some positive results in our business community. And so what might have been happening late summer, third quarter is different than how fourth quarter landed. Yeah, no, everybody really rallied together and worked really hard for that last push of the year. A new marketing subcommittee. So this was proposed by Councilmember Hasemeyer that we have a quarterly marketing group, a subcommittee, which could include people that are not on the commission, just other business owners in the area, to come together and communicate with the city for those quarterly promotional seasons that we had identified in our other subcommittee. In the collaboration subcommittee, we came up with 4 different seasons, Winter Wonderland, the Mother's Day season, a summer season, and then the fall season. And for them to all come together so that budgets for businesses, right? Like knowing that you want to save certain amounts to help with these collaborative communications, like we saw in the fourth quarter. It allows for people to budget both in their businesses and maybe like any funds that we have available with the city. But also to kind of plan it out. We saw like a really successful campaign. What's that going to look like, and how can we repeat and keep some of that energy and momentum going throughout the year? We want to become a part of people's traditions on a regular basis throughout the year, not just the holiday season. So that was where that was coming from. And quarterly seems like a light enough lift, where monthly is sometimes a little too frequent. It's too easy for it to fall between the cracks. So I'm not quite sure how we would go forward with setting that up, because we haven't talked about it with the city to see if that's something that's possible to do.
So Anything's possible. This was, as you said, just proposed by Councilwoman Hasselmeyer through an email, and it wasn't really fleshed out. The city can certainly participate, and the suggestion, please correct me if I'm wrong, was to have Jordan Public Affairs attend. That's fine. The city can attend and support. My concerns were is that your marketing subcommittee cannot be city run. It needs to come organically from the business community. So Jordan can certainly be there to support, but the plan, the suggestions, creating the agenda, whatever those meeting formats look like, need to be created by the subcommittee or this body.
That makes complete sense, yeah. Okay, so
Hey, I was just gonna bring up your name.
is there anyone on the commission that would like to be the chair of that quarterly meeting?
Can you back up a second? John was very engaged in the last meeting that you
Discussion.
were not at. Yes, the last meeting where we talked about the marketing subcommittee
Oh, yeah.
that you were not at. He just walked in, so he hasn't heard what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, John, to catch you back up. It was proposed by Councilmember Castmeyer that we disbanded the monthly collaboration meeting.
Yeah.
And are moving, considering moving toward the quarterly.
Yeah.
Where as Dr. Peoples just said, the business owners and the business community would come up with some plans or structure or, you know, inspiration for those quarterly promotional seasons that we had come up with in the subcommittee. You know, like Winter Wonderland, the
Yeah.
Mother's Day time, summertime, and the
Make it a citywide and having all that.
right,
Right.
so that we get into that repeatable part of people's traditions and things they look forward to, and get them to come to Webster throughout the year.
Mm. This is tying to what we were talking about last time about bringing in some marketing people from the community to be a part of the
Exactly.
subcommittee.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the question was now, is there anyone on the commission that would like to be the chair of that subcommittee?
I'll do it. If you don't mind me showing up late and saying I'll do it.
At least we repeated it, right? So now you know what it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do you want to ponder it as far as like when the first one could be? I think soon would probably be a good idea so they can, it was a big success, the fourth quarter. Everyone really rallied together. Things were very intentional. We got a lot of people in from around the region, is what I've heard from a lot of businesses. And so reflecting on what worked and what didn't, when it's closer to that time period is probably helpful.
Well, getting the right people to the table, though, I think is just as important. And so for me, if I'm gonna be the chair, trying to jump on this right now and put a bunch of effort in is not gonna be feasible. It would have to be over, I'm in my slower time for the one business, but not the other.
Yeah,
So I think I would be looking towards like beginning of second quarter as the first real meeting, so that we'd have some time to collect information enough to be able to have a good meeting and get it in front of the, I want to talk to personally a couple of people that I really want in the
yeah,
community. That would be my proposal.
okay. Is it something that you think you might be able to like reach out to them now though, so they can make notes
Yeah.
of like, stuff so that in the beginning of April or whatever, then, okay.
And it'd be good to collect, if we could do another survey of the folks, because we went and touched all the small taxing districts, right? And talked about that before, so kind of hearing from the businesses about what they felt about what worked last quarter's relation to marketing and what they heard from their combustor glide, it's still fresh, right?
Right. Okay, so maybe it more, and so instead of maybe the economic environment, to talk more about like the marketing
Yeah.
of that and get some feedback, because I think there was some questions too on like where did they see results from? Did they enjoy, or did they feel like more came from social
Mhm.
or from, like print or, like radio or all these different things?
Did they get boosts for the Julie Tristan thing? Did, people mentioning what's for good times ads, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, trying to get their feel for it right now.
Sure, yeah.
Karen, might I suggest that this group come up with a one pager or whatever is appropriate about the purpose of the subcommittee? So as you all are talking about it, you're giving the same message, or as you're inviting people, you have something that you can provide to them. I think that would be helpful, especially as you set the agenda for meetings. Suggestion.
Okay. Is that something that you would need help with?
Not that. I know exactly. what-
Well, I would offer, if you need any help with anything, I'd love to
Great,
be a part of it.
I would love that. I'm not saying I don't want help. I
Yeah.
definitely want help. But I got, because we've been talking about this for a few meetings, I feel like I got a good grip on where we're heading with it, and it really spawned out of that first budget we talked about, and kind of trying to be intentional with that going forward.
Okay. Great.
See everybody.
Thank you for having Joe.
Okay, so would you maybe have that cover letter for next meeting?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So next meeting we'll have. We'll just,
Some letters.
yeah, we'll have some letters to pass around. We'll have some other things too, because it's also like year end. We'll get to that in a minute, the annual report and that. Okay. So the Explore Webster Groves logistical process.
Yeah, so we had talked last meeting, which now seems like forever ago, about how we could revive Explore Webster Groves. And so Jordan came forth with some ideas. The city's interested in partnering, we just so hard to get our arms around. And so what we came up with was this process that we talked about a little bit, but it helps to codify it and certainly want feedback. This is not a done deal. And it relies heavily on the subcommittee that you all just created. So I don't know when the perfect start time is, but if you go to the last page, Jordan did a really nice job of breaking it down. But essentially, the subcommittee would be responsible for reviewing the content. Business owners, and step one, I won't read it to you, but business owners or whoever that person is would submit the content, whether it's a video, whether it's sale information. It could come through different methods, but they would provide that to the BDC marketing subcommittee to review, just to make sure it's appropriate. We put in some timeframes there. All of that is movable, but you are all busy people, so at least 5 days to review, if that makes sense. It could be 3 if you guys think you can review it quicker. But subcommittee would either approve, deny, or request changes with notification and have that communication with the business owner. Once it's approved, everything's good to go. The city was thinking we could create a Dropbox or some other shared type of environment, and IT is exploring what that could look like because some of the media files are really large, so just doing an email exchange is not ideal. So we could do some type of Dropbox, and then you all could just plop that stuff in the Dropbox. Jordan would be able on a regular basis to go in, look, and load that content to Explore Webster Groves. So that's what we came up with. There are those timeframes. Jordan, it's on one of these pages, I don't remember what it is, but he requested 7 days, and we can talk about that. Maybe that becomes too much. We need some type of buffer there because we only have one public affairs person, and he may have sick days. He may at some point in time want a vacation, that sort of thing. So what we don't want to happen is that we receive that content and we don't get it posted because he's out, and we just don't have everything in that position. So that's our plan. Happy to accept any feedback on it. It may be more appropriate for when the subcommittee meets.
We think about having guidelines in relation to the format and all that kind of stuff.
I think that would be incredibly helpful. We didn't go down that rabbit hole and get that much into detail.
Okay.
Yes, I think that would be great. Jordan, today, please feel free to.
Give a great summary.
It was a quick summary. I just want you to know there was a lot that went into this. So we try
it's
to.
beautiful and very easy to
He did
follow.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But yes, guidelines would help everybody.
Okay. So, my question is, because I know that back when we spoke about this the first time, the goal was to try and implement it as quickly as possible. It also seems like something that would fall under the marketing subcommittee kind of thing. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think as far as like being able to communicate and implement this, are we ready? Because we don't have a Dropbox or anything yet, right?
I don't think it'll take much longer to get the Dropbox. We've actually been working on this since that last meeting, trying to figure out how we could make this work, what type of file share. We comply with Sunshine, what, we've been working on it. So I don't think it'll take that much longer to get that. I think the next steps would be to come up with those guidelines to be able to share out for the process.
Is that something that we could do by next meeting? Would that be a goal that's soon enough, or do you need it more in between then and?
I don't have a time frame in mind. I don't know that it's appropriate for the city to come up with the guidelines for the business community. So I
Sure.
think that's something the subcommittee needs to do. So-
Well, some of it will be based upon the parameters of the website, right?
Mhm.
As far as size of photos and limits as to size and then if there's any verbiage and that kind of stuff. So we might need some from whoever runs the website, some basic guidelines, and then,
I think Jordan can easily provide that to you.
Okay.
In terms of,
okay.
So when we're talking about guidelines, are we also talking about the type of content?
I believe we are. I don't mean to sound vague. I don't want to be overly prescriptive. You all are the marketing experts. You all know what type of content you want on Explore Webster Grows. So I think those need to come from you all. In terms of size limitations, all of that, Jordan can get that to you. That's easy enough. But the rest of the guidelines and content, I think, is a group decision.
Yeah.
Are you still getting a lot of these, Jordan?
A lot of,
Like Explore Webster Growth stuff, like requests, is it like content stuff?
I'm not getting
Okay.
that many requests. We have about 11,000 followers on the Facebook account, around 2,000 on Instagram. And for instance, when the holiday marketing was going, St. Louis Magazine reached out to me and said, it would really help if the Explore Webster Facebook page in particular was more active, and there was a lot of content that the businesses, local community was producing that would really help this push go further. I said, I acknowledge that, I realize that it's a capacity, it's a bandwidth, challenge right now. You're welcome to also tag the city as well. But so I guess to go back to your point, I think the desire is there for more content, and this is a roadmap, a framework to potentially, do that. So
Okay.
I would throw out other options as well. I think this is a great start, and as the subcommittee gets going, monitor it, see what's working, what's not. There's other places that this could live potentially. I haven't had any conversations with Jerry, so I'm just going to throw it out there. But it might be something that lives with Chamber. It could live many, many places, and that is not to say that it cannot live with the city, because this process and flow may be perfect, but there may be other creative ways to make it more successful.
But the city controls the social media accounts and all, right?
It's not to say we're not willing to share. Would you like one? We want this to be successful, and if we can do it, that's terrific. Jordan's very excited about this. I think everybody would agree our social media and our internal city marketing going outward has improved drastically. That's all due to him. So we're willing, but if it turns out that it's not what the businesses want, or it's not the best, then I also just want to throw it out there that we don't have to own this.
Well, I'd like to springboard off of that. We would love, to be able to partner. And I think you've worked well with Tim. And, likewise, he's helped really elevate our social media. So, absolutely collaborate.
yeah, I agree.
Along that note, because Jordan has done so well, but we still have getting people to, sign up for the Friday page to read it. Our readership isn't always that high. And so I want to make sure that this is great. But if you all can get a plug for signing up for the Friday page, there's so much content in there. I mean, it is just loaded. So if you have any ways to help us boost that, we'd greatly appreciate it.
So how are people typically, do they go to the city website to sign up for it? What's the
Yeah, I
typical
mean,
process.
the easiest way to sign up for the Friday page, go to webstergrovesmo.gov, and then, under stay informed, keep connected with Notify Me. You can sign up not only for the Friday page, but any of the mass distribution lists if you want to be notified when the city will post bid documents or council agendas, city events. There's Parks and Rec, like when they push out their quarterly newsletters. So, and then here's the Friday page as well, city news, issues, and events. Or you can just, in the search bar, type the Friday page, and then there's an option to subscribe from there. So
it sounds like it's a multi-click.
it's at
Nice.
least 2 clicks,
Yeah.
to get there. I'm waiting on Civic Plus right now. We're gonna put an icon on the homepage to try and make it even easier for people to find and subscribe.
That would be really neat.
That part of the site is locked, so I'm waiting on them to make that change. But
Sure.
Yeah.
Does it ever help like through this social pages or anything like that? Or is it ever tried to push out to people?
Yes, I would say the last month, I've kind of created, this isn't a print newsletter, but sort of a digital front page, and have pushed that to Facebook and Instagram with a link to subscribe, and also a link to the latest newsletter. People don't have to be a subscriber to see that. So we have about 530 subscribers right now, and then we're getting additional traffic from social, on our newsletter. The metrics are tracked differently, but yeah, I would love for you all to push that and get the word out. And feedback is welcome as well on the types of content that is included. That's also helpful. So any suggestions you would have, would be glad to take those.
Jordan, is there like ever an advantage to like a QR code for something like that, like at point of sale or at the rec center or any place at the library, or any
I think
place?
it's a great idea. Yeah. We did the Prop W surveys for the skate park and the performance park and Ivory Crockett. We had literal yard signs out in front of the rec center, and that was along with the social, that was a big driver for people. You would see them, as they're going into work out, taking a picture of the sign with their phone. Oh, I'm gonna go complete this. So I think that's a great idea, frankly. So
Yeah, I didn't know like the success rate of those, but that sounds like you've got some proof there.
yeah.
Yeah, a QR code, because we've tried doing that before, like whether it's at like the coffees or the after hours events and things like that, but strategic like signs outside of some key locations around town, like the library and the rec center and all of that. Sounds really neat.
Yeah, I think a lot of that'll get fixed naturally as we start working through the other issues of getting information out. A lot of it is coming down to how people are consuming their information nowadays, and email just doesn't work because we're an information overload. And the moment I open an email that doesn't just give me what I need right at the beginning, I move to the next one, right? Because I don't have time to spend 15 minutes on an email, right? And so if we can get I agree that getting some kind of structure up is most important right now. Dropbox, I personally have had problems with it within my business because not everybody feels comfortable accessing it because they try to get you to subscribe and all that different stuff. And so I don't know, but I don't know the security stuff. So
We're also exploring a separate SharePoint type site. So we've looked at a couple of options. I don't know what the final one will be.
ease of access is always going to be
Agreed.
the barrier on that. But once we get that starting to roll, the way that those information should go out is a small, 15-second video that highlights the top things from that particular newsletter and then drops it in the comments. Like that's how people consume the majority of their information now. But we've got to go baby steps to get to there. We're catching up a couple decades,
So to do a little bit of a recap on this new marketing subcommittee, there'll be a page
a front page thing. Apologies. There'll be a front page available by next meeting.
Front
And-
page.
An introduction letter with mission statement kind of, and
Objective.
Okay, and then when do we want to have the survey about the quarterly or about fourth quarter? And the
I will have that
marketing?
ready for the next meeting as well.
Okay.
And I'll kick that around to the same people that we did the last survey. Jerry, you okay with, Pam, you okay with?
Yeah,
getting
Eric?
that? Eric, yep.
Yeah, well, and you now have another.
Awesome.
I would love. Partly, yeah.
Yeah, no, I need you.
Good.
Okay, so we'll have that and the letter, and then as far as the Explore Webster Groves, is that something where we'll hear from the city once there's a sharing site?
Yes, as soon as we get that worked out, we'll certainly share, and hopefully by next meeting, we'll have that worked out, which I think lines up, and you'll have the cover letter guidelines, whatever it is, so next meeting, some more.
Great.
Can I ask a clarifying question just on the survey front? Is that just for complete clarity, like, is that something that y'all will do like via like a Google form, or is that even possible, Dr. Peoples, with like our Sunshine? You know, or is that something you all are looking for the city to do through SurveyMonkey? Like, where I just want to make sure we have expectations completely outlined.
Sure, that's a good question.
You're talking about the shared files?
Oh, no, the survey that they're proposing for to have, you know, businesses assess their fourth quarter and what worked and what didn't.
I think I need more information on that. If it's a survey like what we put out before, that was through
Yeah.
SurveyMonkey. It is sunshineable. It retains all of that information going forward. There were not great results for the survey. I'm not sure, as the saying goes, the juice was worth the squeeze. So whether it needs to be shorter, you know, I'm certainly not the expert on that, but it's shorter. How do you get it? It's the one click thing. How do you get it? Is it buried down in the, so don't mean to stray from your questions.
No,
You've got all
totally
the
fair.
the legal aspects are covered. There just wasn't a real bang out of the survey.
Sure. And it may be something where we try like another one or two and see like, is this something where it's like, was just new? And so people were kind of like, was it because it was an uncomfortable subject or something they just didn't want to do? You know, I think that the actual click and open rate was pretty good. It was just that they didn't, was that
complete?
okay,
Yeah,
all right. So, but maybe,
less is more maybe on this one.
or also, you know, like it's positive, it's a little bit more positive than like, hey,
Also, I think being clear, like the results, of why we are doing it, like the results of the survey are so that we can better serve your needs next holiday season for the with marketing, you know, like.
and we could try maybe embedding a link in the newsletter that goes out.
Yeah.
Or, you know, where we can just say, hey, help us help you better.
Right. As opposed to just like information for
Yeah.
information, because then it's like, I don't have time for that. It doesn't help me, okay, but you know.
Was there any plans to do a summary of the survey and to share out with businesses? Because as a survey taker, if I'm gonna take another one, I'd like to know what happened to the first one.
Right, yeah. Do we want to include that maybe with the next newsletter?
Who's gonna do that?
That's a good, well, I mean, I'm happy to help do that. Because it's gonna take some looking at this survey and to see like how to communicate that with, again, not overwhelming people with like too many words and things that you know, maybe we could do it like as a little recap. This is what we were hearing from businesses from third quarter. Our impression in talking to people's fourth quarter is great. Please help us look at the marketing and see like how we can keep this momentum going.
It'd be really great to be able to just do a summation of this. And offer a link if people want to,
Want to see
dig a
it.
little bit deeper into the results, but Once that's compiled, I would love to ask the commission would be okay if we publish it as well.
Okay.
Right, you usually do a survey through
Mhm.
the chamber.
But I think this is so relevant to the majority of our membership.
Okay,
So someone needs to compile it, is what he's saying.
right,
Someone at
Mary?
this table.
Yeah,
Are
I'd love
you
to do that.
comfortable? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to do.
I don't mind going through it too. So, but if you wanna, if you're comfortable just like going through and summarizing it,
Yeah, and then I'll route it and,
Okay.
you know, get our fingerprints on it, and once it's blessed, then we'll blast it.
We have so much content for next meeting.
okay, great. Right. We talked about the logistic process, so we'll do the newsletter for January.
Okay, well, I feel like we have some good content. We've discussed the session taco change. Definitely want to include that. The Q3 review data would be on the January newsletter, we think, right?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Would we keep it separate, like do the Q3 review? And then ask them to do a marketing one at the same time, or?
I think it depends on if people think they can get that done to send to me within the newsletter.
Yeah, because the goal is to have this out next week. Is that right?
No, the draft is due to Fran next week, but then it's usually sent out a little bit later in
Yeah,
the month.
goes out the end of the month.
Yeah, so that would be a pretty quick turnaround on a survey.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe just to keep the review.
Yeah.
And be like, coming soon.
Right, you could dovetail it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, thank you for your thank you to all you that responded. Here's the information. Keep an eye out for the marketing one that'll be coming next.
Yeah.
We're really trying to use this information to do a better job.
Yep. Great. And that, let's see. Oh, maybe something about signing up for the Friday page. That could be a good idea.
Yep.
We have the coffee still on there.
Yep.
April
The
16th.
coffee and talking about the comprehensive plan. It's gonna be what we talk about. That's all I got.
is the marketing committee going to be by invitation or is it going to be open to participants?
Last meeting, we discussed doing it by invitation.
I like that.
Agreed.
And can I go back to the comprehensive plan presentation? As I noted, comprehensive plan is huge, and so it would help us a lot to prepare for that presentation to know exactly what this group's looking for. Who's going to provide that to me?
I'm your coffee guy.
You're my coffee guy.
Yeah.
There we go. Just a few bullets that will really help us narrow it down. Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess also it's hard to narrow it down since we haven't seen it.
The comp plan? It's online.
Online, and it's
Okay.
been presented in council meeting multiple times. If anybody wants a YouTube video of it.
I have a hard copy with all my notes, if anybody wants to go through that. It is great, and I think too, like this, and sorry,
No, please.
if I may, what do businesses want to know from that? Like, it is expansive, we talk about exciting things like opportunity districts or how to enhance our current business districts. Like, what are the things that you think the businesses would want to know? What would be really engaging? From there, I think the city and I'm happy to participate as well in explaining how this plan can be really transformative. So I don't know if that's something you all want to discuss, if you want to ponder on it. We have a minute still until April, but to make sure that, when do you think you would want to know so that there's enough runway?
I would like at least 4 weeks notice if we could do that. The comp plan is hundreds of pages, so truly to give a presentation and to allow, probably would be Director Wagner, John Wagner, planning and zoning would probably do the presentation. He's phenomenal. But we love this stuff and we can talk for an hour about something that doesn't interest you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if if we have that by March.
That would be really helpful, because it would allow us
Beginning
some
of
time to do a
March,
slide
and then-
deck or print out some materials or that sort of thing.
So I can have it for next meeting and then we can talk
Oh,
about
that'd
it.
be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure we like what I'm saying.
Eric, if you have any
Okay.
questions, feel free to reach out to me too and give you my.
I might need an audio recording of it so I can listen to it, you know, in the car when I'm driving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recording studio. maybe.
The council meeting.
Or you're free to listen to those.
Help me remember to invite John Wagner to the next meeting. So that might be helpful if he's in the discussion.
Was that everything for your newsletter?
Yes. Yes, I just had an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I was thinking about like trying to have better engagement with some of these things and like thinking about the Friday page and everything. And for example, like not to brag, but our newsletter for Betty's Books, we get great engagement. And so I was thinking about like, okay, what's the difference? And I think part of it is people know, like, I wrote that newsletter and like there's only like 5 people who work at my store. So the people who are creating this content, people know who that is. And they're like, oh, I trust that person, or I'm interested. I know I'm interested in comics or whatever. So I wondered, this is like a little silly, but I wondered if including in the BDC newsletter, like a feature about like just short, like really short about one of the people on the committee for each newsletter. So it could be like Tammy, it could be the first one, and it'd just be like a picture of her and like, you know, what her role is, what she likes about Webster Groves, her favorite food, like whatever. Some just like 5 little things so that people felt like, oh, these are human people who live in my community who are sending this out and trying to help me, you know? Because I think it can be like a faceless another newsletter that you're like, what is the point of this? Especially this one, because it's like, there's so many newsletters. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's great to introduce like people that are newly joined
Yeah.
as well, and you know, things like that.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, before I joined, I didn't know who was on the committee.
One of the things that people loved so much in the past that the BDC would do, and we haven't done it for years, is to talk about new businesses that have pulled a permit, and so maybe they're not open yet, but they're gonna be soon. So that, you know, we could reach out to them, welcome them to the neighborhood, you know, do things like that. And
Yeah.
and look towards like collaboration things. That
yes.
could be great content for the newsletter.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think that but the point is like we're not like a news subscription from like a stupid website you visited to buy your phone case or something. You know, we're like real people who are trying to give you information that is very relevant. And so yeah, whatever we can do to be like humanized, even in digital form, I think would be very helpful for
Yeah, I mean,
engagement.
even like if we go through everybody here, like,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's like, then you could go like, just have like a business spotlight where like each month you know, the Peter Sutton who owns the jewelry store next to us, you can talk to him for 5 seconds and
Right.
like, this is your local business owner, like, and then it's something that could keep going on even once we've all been introduced or whatever.
Right.
You can mix it up.
Yeah. New business. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Also, that'd be more fun for me. You know, I'm always like, oh,
We could combine newsletters. We could do your Betty's Books newsletter.
oh, you're gonna get some engagement.
Okay.
Or you're gonna lose it.
Yeah, no. Oh, sure.
What is all this stuff?
Yeah.
Real quick on pulling the permits. We've talked about this in a couple of different meetings. That information just is not as easy to share anymore, and I don't want that to get lost. It's not something the city can just provide on a monthly, quarterly basis, and that's because the nature of pulling permits has changed so much. You all can probably explain that better to me, but people don't always want it shared. A lot of the things fall through. You know, they may pull a permit, but that doesn't mean that it actually happens, and that's just changed a lot. So.
A great example of that, when we did the ribbon cutting for Total Access Urgent Care. Right, we came in, we did the ribbon cutting, we had great representation, probably about 25 people. And guess what, the owners and they were, you know, oh, are you part of, you know, they misunderstand our role. And they say, oh, you're with the city. You know what a hassle it was to get this permit. It's like, you know, come on, we just opened the door. Let's turn the page. So,
You know, if there's something that we know is coming and that they want to make a big splash, then
Yeah.
certainly we can share that, but it's just not something we're always gonna be able to provide. So
it's,
Well, in the
Problem.
past, the information that you're
It
talking
is.
about was only firm. It was not when it had been pulled. It was when they were open.
I don't think it was always when they were open. I think it was like when they were.
Mara
in the
never
program.
announced it until they were open and doing business and everything was fine.
that's how I recall it as well. That we can do, you know, if we know for sure. But yeah.
So is it granting of business licenses then? Would that be as opposed to pulling permits?
Maybe it was more of an occupancy permit than a.
Well, even then, they don't always come to fruition. I mean, I can think of 2 or 3 businesses that went all the way through the occupancy and then for whatever reason didn't move forward. So
No.
I don't mean to take a lot of
No,
time.
no.
I just don't want that to get lost, that it's not something.
I think it's just kind of a, like sometimes, you go back and forth to work and like we do have that separation of districts. And so you don't realize, oh, what, there's a new something. And so being able to share that.
Of course.
People will open it for the information.
Yeah.
They want to know who's coming in. It's the buzz everywhere. People love talking about feeling like they have insider information on what's going on.
Okay, great. Anything else for the newsletter? New business. The end of year annual report, we'll be starting that. The deadline, is that in February, the end of February?
Yes. Okay. They're both end of February.
Great.
You have to start out with fanfare. It's budget time. Woo-hoo! That's right. That's right. Budget makes the wheels go around. So while there's 2 forms this year, it's not any more labor intensive. It's the exact same contents. We found that it was pretty confusing for the different boards and commissions to complete all of it being on one form. So we separated the annual work plan and budget request from the end of year report. I just didn't want you to think there's 2 pieces of paper rather than one to double the work. It's the exact same.
Okay. And I think that for the end of year report, Councilmember Hassemeyer, we're gonna work on that a little bit. So that's something that we can have for the to share with everyone by next month.
So clarification. Jamie's putting this together for you or she's working with?
No, I'm gonna reflect on it and put it together to share with everyone, but Jamie will take a look for me and make sure that it's.
She's gonna look over what,
Mhm.
okay. I just didn't catch that.
Yeah. And Eric, if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Put a plug in for the deadlines. I recognize that end of February feels like tomorrow. It does for us as well. The budget season comes very quickly. We start working on it really heavy in December, which of course there's not a meeting in December. So this is the first month that we're able to introduce this. As you all know, you'll do a presentation for the council at some point in time. We've got those plugged in. But we work on a lot of various presentations, the budget stuff. I encourage you all to be included. You're welcome to come to as many meetings. We always have that stuff on our YouTube channel. But just sharing a little bit of the time frame and process for that. All of it's pushed back a little bit later this year because of the election. We won't start doing all of our really intensive staff presentations on the departments and things until the new 2 council people are sat. So our time frame this year is even tighter, which is happened over the election cycle, but it makes it very difficult. So that is my plea to please submit this on time. It would be really
Okay, so when you say the timeline for the presentations has been changed, when is that?
I will send you our goal for presentations for boards and commissions. That has not been set. That has to be done in conjunction with the clerk's office. I'll provide that. You'll have plenty of notice, but in order for those presentations to happen, we've got to have the budget information.
Okay.
So I probably
So
made that too
then
complex.
next session, we've got a lot of material to review. And budget. Okay. Do we have figures available to us of where we stand with how we've spent our budget so far? Cause like right now, we're just in
It's just mid-year. That's right.
mid-year.
That's right. We do have what's been spent so far. If there's anything else to submit, please do, but I don't think there is. I think everything's been taken care of.
I think so.
So
But if
yes,
we can
I'm
get a
happy.
feel for like
Sure.
how that's gone so far.
Absolutely.
then we can just say, same.
I can get that email to you by the end of the week.
Okay. Okay. Eric, you wanna, work with me on both of those, or we can
Yeah,
submit that for, we can, yeah,
then,
come up with those, and then we'll, ask you to take over it.
yeah, Jamie the ladies.
Yeah, okay. Great, the budget request, we'll do that, expectations for BBC. We've talked about having some kind of structure for the roles that we're all playing on the commission, or maybe some templates for some of the work that we do, like for the newsletter. So say something comes up and Betty needs to break away from doing the newsletter. Like a template, of like the kind of information that we try to include on the newsletters and things like that, or the representatives from the different districts, like what kind of information would be helpful to share with the commission each meeting, things like that, so that they can glean that from their areas and report on that. So that is something that we wanted to work on for this year, and I am happy to spearhead that. Is there anybody else that wants to help? Eric?
I'll help you.
And Betty, if you could help us with like a template. Do you work from a template kind of? Okay, yeah, great. So, we probably won't have it by next meeting because we've got so much, so many things that we're all going to be bringing. But hopefully, this first half of the year we'll have that knocked out. Marketing of neighboring municipalities, member research. I think this is more along the lines of how do other business areas, districts, whether they're in a CID or they do have that economic development sales tax, or they have no structure like that. Like, are there other similar, Main Street kind of communities that are similar to Webster that have something that we can learn from or be inspired from? And as far as planning for our community,
Yeah, this can be a takeaway from the after hours on the 29th. So from the chamber folks, and I don't, Kirkwood as well. So
What?
we could get some of that information from the after hours.
there's many layers in Kirkwood of different districts as far as like a CID.
I'm still not clear on what Eric is saying. I'm sorry.
He's saying that maybe we can do a little marketing research and chit chat with
Yes.
people at the.
It could be a takeaway, a reason
So
for
you're
going.
talking about the conversations that you plan to have?
Yes,
Thank you.
we plan to have thoughtful conversations at the after hours.
If you're talking about a piece of paper,
I also think, learning from the last happy hour, there was a lost opportunity. And I think we can kind of, huddle to make some announcements and welcome. Because, it's not just, a gathering, but initiatives, information that we're trying to glean. When, let's say it starts at 5, by 5:30, we clink the glass, get everybody and introduce who we are and what our roles are, because this will be, a room filled with business owners, business leaders, influencers. So it's a great opportunity to get our, kind of think about what our message is. And then after we're done with our announcements, we can mingle a little bit and then be able to gather, whatever pertinent information we're looking for.
That reminds me that we had spoken before about the thematic tags. Yeah, or maybe it doesn't have to have our name, but where it identifies, like Webster Grove's BDC vice chair and chair, or maybe even the marketing committee chair or something.
I think that, these are $15. a piece. You know, I think it's critical as opposed to just a sticky label, you know.
Right.
There'll be plenty of those.
Plenty of labels.
I can work with Jordan to get some pricing. I would recommend that that's something that's put in the budget.
We work with Fran Am.
I think that even, like attending that economic conference and things like that, that would have been really helpful. Great. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Chamber update.
All right. I'm so excited. Biggest headline here is that we have rebranded. So, how do you like that? For show and tell. So, this was an 8-month process. As many of you can appreciate, Webster Grove, Shrewsbury, Rock Hill, Brentwood is a mouthful. So while that is who we are, and that's the foundation of the chamber, we elected to go through a brand exploration and we landed on the Quad. So we are officially the Quad Chamber of Commerce, representing Webster Grove, Shrewsbury, Rock Hill, and Brentwood. In that, I think some really important information just to share why Webster Groves is so critical. It is the bedrock of the Quad going forward, and it always has. Since 1937. So next year, we're celebrating our 90th anniversary. And to just give you kind of a census of the makeup of our 300 membership, you've got about 125 members that sit right here in Webster out of, I believe, about 700 or so business licenses. So there's nothing but blue sky, nothing but growth opportunity. So that's why it's so critical to be able to collaborate. Contrary to that, Shrewsbury, we have 8 members. Despite how, continuous effort, we haven't lost any members, but, Shrewsbury is just flat. So the end of February, we're doing a business exchange for the city of Shrewsbury to try to pump that up. Rock Hill has about 15 members. Brentwood is a little over 30 and rising. Brentwood is really, really supportive of the Quad and, the growth. Oddly enough, the balance, right? That's the question. Where's everybody else? They sit outside our 4 walls. They sit outside of, 63119. So, we have just seen continuous growth from Chesterfield, O'Fallon, just the neighboring communities. What we are offering, and we're looking to partner with each of the communities on the business licenses and the business renewals, which I know are front and center right now, and offering a free 90-day membership to the chamber. Right? Everybody should be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, right? And for resources, for networking, for all of that. So that's our strategy going forward to lift membership. So I'm really excited. I do have a press release, and I'd love to get that in the newsletter. Real brief, concise. It's only 2-3 pages. Next up, I wanted to share, we made a critical hire. We're a pretty thin staff of me, right? And I have a part-time helper. But I did get board approval to hire a gentleman named Tim Kyle. And Jordan, I know you've worked with him. He has, he's 31 years old, and God bless him, right? I mean, he can do things that I only have dreamt of doing, right? In terms of back-end development work and social media. I'd like for Tim, he's full-time. He's a resident of Webster Groves. He's a lifelong, this kid, he wrote me the most impassioned letter and really campaigned to get involved in the chamber. He's rooted here. I'd like to bring him to the next meeting. He's sick today, unfortunately, otherwise I would have put him here. And I think you're going to love him. He's got great energy, and I think he embodies the spirit. So he's going to be a part of our collaboration and our efforts, right, to be able to work together. I do want to kind of share that we have a big event coming up on February 4th. We're hosting Maxine Clark, who is the founder of Build-A-Bear. It's the Delmar Divine is their latest project. So we're expecting a little over 100 people to come to this event and love to promote that, to get the word out. She's a dynamic speaker.
Is there a limit to occupancy at that?
This is going to be at the Westboro Country Club. So the capacity, I believe, is 110. But they claim they can go 150.
So where are you at in registrations?
Right now, we're at about 50. So maybe about halfway. But I also, and I would love for the commission, everybody, to feel welcomed at any quad event. We'll start using we're family, and any opportunity, any resource, whether you're a member or not, membership is bought, it's hard to sell. But we want everybody to be inclusive. So whether it's coffee, which is tomorrow, we do coffees, we have 3 events every single month. Everybody's welcome. So if you feel the opportunity to be able to, get a pulse, like we were talking about what's going on with businesses, I would love to share the perspective, because we do surveys. We do have a good feel for, everybody, every business owner is looking for a strategic plan. Here we are into, 2026, and there's a lot of small businesses that still haven't developed their strategic plan for this year. They don't understand marketing. They want to understand how to go to market, right? And so that's why I really want to kind of help champion some of the results of the survey. So there needs to be recommendations. It can't just be, here are the facts, this is what we gathered. It's got to be, this is some suggestions. And these are resources to be able to, the commission is a great resource. I'd love for, the chamber to be a great resource to help achieve whatever goals you have for your businesses. So that's what I've got. HOC, which is the heart of the community, nominations are closing tomorrow, believe it or not. We started 2 months early this year. April 17th is the date. It's going to be at the Shrewsbury City Center, where it's been for the last 100 years. This year is going to be about engagement. It always is, right? It's not about the numbers. Yeah, we're 300 members. We'll probably be 325 next year with the attrition of ebbing and flowing, but it continues to grow. I can share with you overall revenues. Really, really proud of this. I'm going to be presenting to the board our year end. So when I started in and this is all public, this is part of the 990 public forum. In 2023, you can say coming off of COVID, there were about 240 members of the chamber. Respectable. Overall revenue was $149,000. Last year, we finished at $179,000. This year, we finished at $236,000.
Congratulations.
Now that money goes back into the community, right? That's not, I'm not driving a Porsche 911s.
Not yet.
Not always. No, I'm excited about the future, and most importantly, I'm excited to be a part of the commission, and I want the voice to be one. With that,
Excellent. Where is the coffee tomorrow?
coffee is going to be at Thrive, the Webster Grove School District. The incubator program for entrepreneurship. That's another thing I'm really proud of. We helped secure $7,000 worth of grants. And I MC this twice a year, and I write the checks right then and there for these kids. So it's the elementary school, it's middle school, and it's high school students. And we give up to $1,000 per team to stand up and present. It's like a Shark Tank. And the cutest thing is to see these little, 5-6-year-old kids, develop, show a PowerPoint. So when you give them a check for $25, it's like, oh, and they have an LLC set up. So that's tomorrow. And everybody's welcome. If you know where that is, that's right around the corner here on Brentwood. So please come.
Thank you. Council update?
Yeah, I'll start just briefly mentioning that Mayor Arnold has developed a youth advisory board. Information about that will be coming out soon. It is going to be for rising juniors and seniors. This is long been something that Mayor Arnold has wanted to do. We had a really incredible fall session, 4 days of engaging with high school students, Webster High School, and then some Narix Hall students. We're going to open the opportunity up to all high schoolers who live in Webster. So of course that unfortunately can't be all kids who go to the high school because we have some Rock Hill, et cetera. But I think this is going to be really incredible. The format is not quite ironed out yet, but getting close. And so when those applications start to go out, I'll try to spread the word in case you know of a high schooler that might be interested in some civic engagement. I'm really excited about being a part of that too. But the biggest news is Tuesday night at our council meeting, we had a big discussion about the economic sales tax, economic development sales tax, and the fire sales tax. There was there has been incredible conversation, really important stuff. At this time, council voted it down to be on the April ballot. I'll speak for myself that I would like to go through the budget season and get serious about where we can find opportunities to tighten things up and do our part as a council to show the residents of Webster that we are serious about this and we want to partner. You know, we want to meet people's expectations about our level of responsibility. And then once we do our part, come to the voters with a request because we need a revenue stream. The city's expenses far outweigh our revenues. And we can't continue to go. This is a structural deficit. We can't continue to operate as such. It's not fair, you know, to the future of our city and current. Our level of services and expectations in the city are really high. We would like to continue along that pathway. So there'll be some tough decisions on the horizon. I have, as someone had mentioned earlier, what does indefinitely mean? I would like to see this on the ballot. In a perfect world, I would love to see it on the August ballot, but Dr. Peoples informed me that we would have to make that decision by the end of May. We will not be done with budget by the end of May. But I do wonder if there's, if we've done enough work between, in that short window of time, with the new council, 2 new council members, 3 new council members. Yeah, well, 2 new. Yeah, because there's, I would like to see what we can get done, to get that on the ballot, to show good faith to the voters. And then maybe reintroduce that for the August ballot. I do not want it to be on the November ballot. So that would mean we would not be looking at that again until what's the next cycle? Would that be March, April? Yeah. So, and I don't want to wait that long.
Did somebody have a question?
Well, I was just, you're talking about that sales tax increase, right? I would just say strategically, maybe it not being on the August ballot would be a good idea, because of the rhetoric that is going to be running around that time as we move towards federal elections. And having a sales tax increase, whether you're going to get yes or no votes, I think may be affected by that rhetoric.
So obviously council's choice. I agree with you. One of the things I've talked with council about, because as you all know, I just have to keep repeating it because I think lots of people will watch this and because we've heard, why are you just talking about it now? And of course we haven't. We've been talking about this for years. But that's been one of the concerns is that each election there's national rhetoric that unfortunately is just getting worse. And so I agree with you fully. I'm not sure there's gonna be an election cycle that is safe from the red. And I say that in seriousness because we've talked a lot about when is a good time to go where we can be separated from it. And in this climate, I think council's gonna have to make some decisions around that. We're just gonna have to trust whatever type of education campaign we do. So it's my 2 cents. Yeah.
So, I have a question. At the meeting on Tuesday, there was concern over the short runway of 12 weeks to try and educate people. And so I think it would basically be the same if we wait until May and then try to do that. Is there consideration of beginning the education process now for whenever we?
I'm gonna answer that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we had a little bit of an email exchange about this because you had wanted some information to go out. Council tabled it indefinitely. That is a direction to staff. And so no, staff cannot be engaged in this. We've got other priorities that council has told us to work on. So please don't hear that as I'm not willing, staff isn't willing, but council made a decision.
Sure.
So that is not something we'll be working on. That 12-week educational campaign is about all the time there is any time there's an educational campaign. It's true of Prop W, it's true of the use tax. That is just the way it falls in between the time any elected body makes the decision and the time that the city clerk has to let the election office know that we're going. And as Councilman Hassmeyer indicated for the August election, I believe that deadline is May 26th. So it's a short time frame each time. So the city always has to be prepared to ramp up. And I believe we can do it. You know, we always.
Is it something like the BDC, like we could discuss, like whether it be a newsletter or at a happy hour?
Absolutely, businesses can discuss, absolutely, you all are free to do that, it's just that staff cannot be engaged in that process.
And one thing I think is really important is like, the conversation is happening. And so to continue, like, this doesn't stop the conversation amongst you all. I will talk to, and I have talked to any and everybody about this, to take the temperature. I do, and then I always, and I've talked to some of you, we have to figure this out. And so when we get to that point, I think it's going to be really key that we have the business community on board, vocal, and supportive of the effort.
If you start building knowledge and support for it now, like the graph that went out in the email where you see like even with this increase, we're still going to be below neighboring tax rates. That's something that's like, okay, that's eye-opening that like all these areas around us have way higher tax rate than us already. And even with the increase, they'll still be higher. I mean, getting that out in front of building support within the business community, and then they can go out and tell their neighbors about it and their friends and
you will
build
do that.
So it has to be like a grassroots kind of thing.
It's in dire need of a community strategy. Because, the questions we get is, it even goes back to the use tax. And what's happening with that revenue and where's that from? So it's just a compounded issue.
Well, and the city is like so transparent. We have, luckily Gregory did, and I recommend that everybody go back to YouTube and watch this portion of Gregory's presentation, and you can listen to the council conversation if you want. But he took a lot of, we get a lot of feedback, y'all. And Gregory went through that, and Dr. Peoples, I mean, I can't imagine the hours that she has spent, and I know that's part of her role, and I just want to acknowledge it I'm really grateful. Thorough, very thorough replies and explanations. If people are reading these and not wanting to understand that or hear that, that is not on, the city, but I feel like the city is doing an incredible job of addressing concerns, misconceptions, myths, etc. on what we're looking at here. So I would recommend that you go and look at that portion, and it will be in our minutes as well. But Gregory's
I can. The PowerPoint was terrific. He really explained a difficult and complex issue of the structural deficit because we hear all the time, where did all that surplus go? And as you all know, it can be a 1-year surplus. It doesn't mean it's to be repeated. A surplus can come from a lot of ours was the ARPA fund, from legal settlements, may come from a cell phone tower, but those aren't things that we continue building our budget on, right? Because it's one time, but as you all know. PowerPoint was really well done and I think explains a lot that we've been trying to explain. They're all just complex issues. So please encourage others to watch it. It doesn't take that long. I think it's worth listening to the council discussion as well. I think it was very insightful, thoughtful. They certainly didn't make that decision easily. They took time discussing it. And if you all have budget questions or your friends or neighbors do,
Yes.
I appreciate Councilwoman Hassmeyer saying that anybody who emails a question, doesn't matter how long the question is, how short the question is, it doesn't matter how rude they are, because that often comes. I answer every single one of those, every single one. So if someone has a budget question, it is not for lack of getting your response. So I'm happy to engage in that, and I offer to meet with every single person that emails it. Gregory will meet with them as well. So it's always an open opportunity.
And I appreciate that, and I will second that. Like, if any of you have questions, if you are talking with people and you don't know the answer, instead of like shrugging your shoulders, really encourage those folks to reach out to Dr. Peoples. To me, if I can't figure it out, I will try to find the right people to help figure it out, because this is really critical. It is important. And just to clarify, the voting it down for the April ballot does not mean most of council is not aware of the situation or not are opposed to this strategy. It is just, personally, I want to go through the budget season and then make that decision, or portion of the budget season and then make that decision. So we are very aware of this. We understand our economic situation. We know that we need to identify a revenue source. And so if and when it comes back again, I intend to vote it over.
Okay, so will you let us know if council gets to the point where they're reconsidering the not indefinite part?
Yeah.
So that we can talk about it in a different way.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Peoples, like I'm not 2 years old yet in this role, but so I'm still feeling like a toddler. Indefinitely doesn't mean like we have just stuck it in a black box and locked it away in a dark closet.
It's an awkward word.
Yeah, I think
for the
like,
public.
Yeah. For those of us, in day-to-day life, indefinitely might be like, oh, that's a never. I think, and is that like, am I right in understanding that like legally or however we would do this, it just means it is there?
I'm not sure it's really a Robert's Rule of Order term. We're still figuring out indefinite. But with that, any council person at any time can make a motion for it to be placed back on the agenda, and all it requires is a second. So indefinite does not mean never. And I certainly didn't get that from the council discussion.
I didn't either, but it was a word that I think that in common language use.
I agree. I
means
wrote it
something
down when
different.
I made the argument. So,
Okay.
with that, to your question is, will you all get some notice? Absolutely, because as soon as a council person makes that motion, it would be placed on an agenda. The Friday page, another great reason to sign up is because if there's something big on the council agenda, Jordan always places that information in the Friday page to alert people and to invite them to attend. The Zoom link is included. So we do start noticing that pretty early. So yes, this group would know.
Okay, because I think that from this group perspective, there's some education even amongst us that could be helpful to hear from, in the context of some more information from the city. But since that's been tabled, then we can't do that now, if I understand correctly.
Well, the city just can't participate because staff have received the direction. What I would say to you all is you have the information you need. We've provided the talking points, that table that you talked about that shows the tax rates. You all have that information. So, please continue talking amongst yourself. I didn't mean to put a chilling effect on that. I just, when you said, when we have presentations, that's just something we won't be able to be engaged in. But absolutely, the conversation shouldn't stop.
Okay, so is that something that we can even put into what we discuss here at the table going forward? Or, where does that, just making sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. city update.
I don't have much beyond that to share. As you all know, it is budget season, and just to tag on to what Councilman Hassmeyer said, we have a very lengthy budget process each time. We've made hard decisions over the past 5 years about where we can cut. We will continue to have those discussions. We are getting to the point, and I've shared this with council, I'm not saying anything new. We are at the point, and as you all know, our general fund, over 77% of the general fund is staff. That's staff salaries, it's healthcare benefits, all of that. So as we really start talking about that, and cuts, reductions don't always have to mean in workforce, but the only other option really is service level. And so we'll be discussing that this budget year. And we've got healthy reserves. Our fund balances are set, so not all decisions would have to be made. I don't think it's gonna, and not my decision, councils, I don't think this is gonna be a budget year of just whack everything, but it's gonna be a budget year of planning. What are those service levels? What perhaps are those staffing levels? And so there'll be, again, hard discussions, but we've been having those hard discussions for 5 years. So now it is also a time of action.
Is there going to be that budget tool presented?
We're not. If I thought we would get better traction response, it goes to the survey things. And so what you're talking about is the balanced budgets survey that we did. The first year we did it, we had the ARPA funds, and we had a great response from the community on that. I was blown away because it's a long survey. I'll be the first one to admit, because we give you each of the department's budgets. We give you what's discretionary, because a lot of it's not, in terms of the department budgets, a lot of it's mandates or whatever we have to do to fulfill. So the first year we got a lot, and people played with department budgets, made recommendations. Each year since that, we haven't had a windfall, if you will, from some type of budget like that. It's just been our regular kind of base budgeting. These are our daily things. And the survey responses were very, very poor. I think last budget year, and we had it out for a couple months, I don't think we had more than 17 responses. So
17?
yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a long survey though. Sure. I mean, so anyway, so no, I don't believe we're going to do that this year, because there's no new funds really to try to get community members to help parse out.
Okay.
May I add something?
Please.
Dr. Peoples, is talking about like services and what we're gonna have to consider. And I just because we're here together having this conversation and this is being recorded. At the end of the day, your government is a service provider. And this is something that I found really helpful to me as I was stepping into this role. We are here to make people's lives run smoothly as much as we can, smooth roads, access to really great activities and that sort of thing. So while yes, there's, you can pay taxes and you pay into this and you are a part of this. But it's helpful. It's a helpful frame to say, oh, and these are the services that we love here and what brings us to Webster. And so I just feel like it's a really helpful framework when you're looking at our budget, like what's our level of service expectation and what can we do with the budget that we have.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Set the February agenda. I think it's pretty well set. We were kind of doing it as we went along.
It's jam-packed.
Is there anyone who's not clear on what's needed from them for the February meeting?
Oh, I ask a quick question? Sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious, because next week is the Crossroads meeting, and I was just curious, is there anything in particular that people in the group find really helpful for the representatives from the business districts to bring to the BDC? Because I feel like
district update.
So we did. It was part of it. It's part of
No, there were no meetings.
Yeah. But just
it's
then
part
I
of
feel like all that.
expectations of BDC.
Yeah, I was just just a quick one sentence. Anyone have anything that they?
Yeah, I would say some things like construction, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes that affects how vendors and things might be delivered to you. Updates on road progress things, because we know that pedestrian stuff is happening in a couple of areas. Any events coming up, things like that. Any new businesses coming to your district,
You can even ask, what would you like me to bring?
Yeah. Okay.
What would you like me to say? And get some feedback.
All right. Yeah. No problem. Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
Jamie, I forgot one more thing.
Yeah.
We are looking at the parking garage, the parking structure, in Old Webster. It needs a lot of work and, to close, there's a strong chance budget wise and time wise, it might need to be closed at one time. This is not extremely urgent. However, what was the time frame that Sanan shared with us? Like within the next
That
24
was just
months.
this week.
Yeah.
For repairs or because it's structurally unsafe?
It is structurally sound. It is dripping on. Do you wanna do?
So if you all have an extra hour and I.
2 hours. I wanted it.
So you didn't put it on 1.5.
Okay.
That's my secret trip. Good
Okay.
tip. You always gotta increase the,
Okay.
it gets rid of the spaces in between. If you want a really in-depth understanding of the technology, the engineering report, pardon me.
Yeah.
I need more coffee as well. For the garage, listen to Sanan's explanation. He boiled down a 200-place, engineering report into that hour, and it's just really helps. The bottom line is it has not had the maintenance that it's needed over the last 20 years, and so now we're paying for it. It's a little bit under 1.5 million, but it's got some erosion. You all have been in the garage, excuse me, and you can see the leakage. And so the concrete structure, and I cannot do Sanan's report justice, but we need to make a lot of modifications, repairs there. What is happening is that leakage is coming through and it is dripping on cars, and it's corrosive in some cases. And so we've had a couple of insurance claims and fallout. So now you may see the signage there that it says park there at your own risk for that under level, which of course is not what we want. So in terms of being structurally sound, it is safe. But there are some definite repairs that need to be made. So I'd encourage you all to watch it. It will help everybody understand. So again, a little bit under 1.4 million. And, council is going to be tasked with how do we pay for that? Because there's either, and I know this is meant to be a short question. Again, this is why you have to give me comprehensive plan bullets, because I like this stuff. Yes. We have SIP, our capital improvement program that we plan out, for years, our big purchases, our fire apparatus, or plows, that sort of thing. We can either pay for it in the SIP, which would wipe out all of this year's capital projects. That is an option. We can take it out of reserve, or we can do a combination, but we've got to find a payment source.
So to clarify, the 24 months that you mentioned, is that the amount of time that's going to take to do the repair, or is that how much runway we have
It's just the
before we're going to have to
process.
shut it down?
Well, that's
Process for bids to get, the engineering and
Planning, everything.
planning to get the repairs done.
So
Absolutely.
it wouldn't start for 24 months.
It can start a little earlier, but as soon as the funding is found, it does take time to get those RFP processes out, to have engineering. It's just nothing is quick. And then once that point comes, we have some decisions to make is do we do the repairs in phases? That would not be my recommendation. When you do those types of repairs in phases, the costs go up. It's easier to close the garage all at once and to do all those repairs. We recognize that's a hardship, so there would be some conversations around that as well. So lots of planning time. It hasn't been funded yet, but it is something that is going to be front and center this budget year.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up, is because of the timing. And I made sure that, I said it in the work session the other night, like, let's make sure we're in touch with our business community. So I'll make sure to keep you all informed on that process and that timeline as well. We want to reach out to you to, obviously, it's not going to be fourth quarter. We're not going to do that in the fourth quarter. You're dummies. So I just wanted to make sure that was brought to the level of attention. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Next meeting is 8 a.m. on February 5th. Is everyone ready to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All right. See you next month.